Alright, hello everyone, we're back with the final demonstration videos. This one we're going to just be talking about color and, correcting color and just talking about all stuff within that. So the first thing is the difference between color correction and color grading. So with color correction, it's more initially about changing the details within the clip. Like for this one example, we'll have to white balance this and maybe change a little bit of the technical stuff of it, like exposure, contrast, highlights, shadows, whites, and blacks. Color grading, on the other hand, is also kind of used within this, but it's more adding an effect in. So for example, when we did the desert, let me just show you. So when we did the desert one of the flower, we color graded when we changed the background of the picture and just left the yellow flower the way it was. So going off of that, when you're using the color correction and color grading, it's not really best to just go off of the computer monitor because it's not really as reliable. That's why we have these right here. So in order to get this, you have to go down to settings and you have to hit vector scope, YUV, and waveform. So this is going to be the waveform and this is the vector scope. So with the waveform, it kind of just gives all the colors. Like if you keep it down here, there won't be any color, and the more it's up here, the more color there is. And then with this, which is the vector scope, it kind of shows you like where majority of the color is going to. So when you see it here, you see that it's white, and then if I want to change it, you'll see it's going to go more up to red as we push it towards orange. Same thing here, it's going more red as we change it up to orange. And we'll show you set that. So going off of that, just reiterating that with the wave monitor, it really shows like all the colors that are basically more seen. So I'm gonna reset this because I ended up changing it. Can I reset it? Okay, maybe not. So I'm gonna put it back to the middle and put it back to 0 and 0. So you can see that like these colors are going to be most used, and that down here. So when I turn down the exposure, everything goes down. When I turn up the exposure, everything goes up. So it's the less, so like this is blacks down here. So when I turn down this black, it's going to pull down all the colors with it. So enough of that. We're going to go back to this clip here that we have, and you can see how badly white balance this is, or like the sunlight's really hitting on this guy's face. So just gonna explain that. So in order to determine how what is going to be best needed, we're going to use the waveform monitor, which you can see like all the colors are up top, which is like the whites, and as I said before, the 0 is the blacks. So in order to do so, I'm going to pull down some of the exposure to kind of make it a little better. I'm just messing with these here with the temperature and the tint to see if there's any way that we can get in a little bit more color. So when you see when I do the black, it starts to drag, the color starts to drag up a little more, drag up and down. Here we go, let's try. See if we can just use this pen dropper tool to kind of fix the color a little bit. Here we go. I decided to make it a little bit darker to kind of give a better feel. It honestly looks like and feels like it's like a heavenly shot, like something that was taken before. Try to play with this a little bit. Honestly, that looks pretty good besides the exposure aspect of it and how bright it is. In the saturation a little bit. And that's what I'm going to say is probably the best I'm going to be able to get for now with what I have. So, and with using the basic correction tools, you can see with the wavelengths that everything is pretty much in the middle. It's dipping down to the blacks a little bit to like draw in some of them, but for the most part, that is how good it is gonna get. So next we're gonna drag in the color correction, or not the color correction, I'm sorry. So next we're gonna drag in the Seattle skyline, which is my personal favorite that we did in class. So with this, we are going to balance colors and show how the vector scope is going to help us determine which colors to make. So here we go. Here is the natural picture, or the natural video of the skyline. So it looks like most of the colors in here, so we're going to be focusing more on the vector scope, not as much as the waveform this time. So it looks like it's a lot of reds, a little bit yellow, to draw in a little bit. But if I want to make it like warmer, I can pull it, it's going to pull it more towards the red. If I want to make it more blue and dark, it's going to pull towards the blue. And you can see it as this little like cloud moves, it's going from one direction to another. So I'm going to try to balance all the colors so it's a little bit even throughout. So you can see as it's moving towards the middle, it's starting to become balanced with everything. No, as you can see, that's dragging it more towards the green. I want it right in the middle. So we darkened it to the blue. And there. Bring it down. There we go, we're gonna let it play through. I kinda like this color. Looks pretty good. Pretty dark. And it looks like it's pretty much even with all of them, except the clouds on the outside aren't really getting as much towards like the green and this other color here. So I'm going to add this other sequence as well, or this other clip, and let's see, color work right here. Ooh, so this one's pretty blue. I'm going to use for this, in order to like fix this, we're going to use the color wheels. So we have 3 different color wheels here: shadows, highlights, and midtones. I'm going to first start out with shadows and kind of pull it up towards yellow to kind of take away from that blue look overall. I'm going to go to shadows, and I'm just going to play around with this to see what, ooh, that looks pretty good. To see what's going to be best for this. So you can see over here we're using the vector scope. It's a little bit too green. Yeah, alright, we want to leave it at that so I can figure out where the midtones need to be. Ooh, okay. Alright, so I adjusted that a little bit. No, I don't really like the blue. I think it's too much blue. Oh, wait, that don't look too bad. Ooh, what is that? So what I'm seeing is we need to pull a little bit more towards yellow with the highlights, not too much. And let's see the clip. Yeah, I'm thinking that looks pretty good. Takes away from the blue. It's a little still blue over here, but at least she's pretty clear. And it's still drawing a little bit towards blue, as you can see on the vector scope. And then not as much yellow. Some reds, mostly the blues. I think this looks pretty good. And next, we're gonna use that desert clip that I first initially spoke about. Right here. What we're going to do with this one is we're going to expand it a little bit, and we are going to leave the color of the flower itself, but make everything else black and white. So in order to do that, you have to go to Effect Controls, actually one step back. So not Essential Graphics. We're going to go to Effects, Video Effects, Color Correction, leave color. There we go. We're going to add that on. Just going to use this dropper. And you're going to decolor everything else. So you can see it when it's at 0. Oh, let's put it back to 0. You don't see anything, but once you hit this, you start to decolor everything to 100. The whole flower, let me see. If I can fix. Everything else is, oops. So here, I'm just moving this tolerance to see how much of the flower is actually going to take up the color. But from what I'm seeing, is that only some of the flower is turning yellow. Let me fix some of these so that it's just only the flower. Alright, that looks a little bit better. Not yet, not yet. Go. There you go, and there you go. So that is the whole flower. That is strictly white, and then everything else around it is black and gray. So the final thing I'm going to do is I'm going to nest these sequences together so that it's a little bit easier for when I want to submit everything. So let's put these together. We'll delete that. Alright, so I'm going to make a new sequence. Actually, I'm going to first nest. So I'm going to highlight these, hit clip, hit nest. I'm just going to say 1 through 9, just so I know that it's all 1 through 9, and I'm not going to go back and change anything. There you go, and whatnot. So then, in order to make a new sequence, you have to hit that, sequence, I'm going to type in, so the one that we have to do is dialog pond 3. Hit OK, and here it is right here. That's the other ones, that's the nested layers, or the nested clips, dialog pond. So let me look for this. Alright, here we go. And what I'm going to do is just add any preset to this. So in order to get to the presets, you have to go over to your effects panels, Lumetri presets. There's cinematic, film stock, monochrome, speed locks, and technical. What you're going to do is you can choose any of these and you can place it over the clip. So I don't really know what, oops, Command C. Not sure what these are going to look like. Alright, so that's monochrome. Monochrome is just black and white. That's not exactly what I want to do for this though. Why don't we try Fuji? Alright, so now that I have it applied to the clip, I'll just show a little something extra. So here you can go and you can do basic corrections on them. Change the temperature a little bit, the tint. Oop, I don't like that. And that is how you really just get everything put together. But you can use this effects controls over here on top of the clips to change some of the settings of the preset that you put on. Alright, so after you add the the preset and everything, what we're going to do is we are going to nest this as well. So we're going to do that same thing. Hit, highlight it first, go down here, go to nest the sequence 2. So then it's going to go over here. And what you're going to do, bring it right over, drag. So you can now see that everything is all on one. If you want to fix this, I don't really know why it went like that, but in order to fit to fill, you just double click and you set to frame size, and I'm gonna see why. Okay, there you go. So I just set to frame size. I'm gonna render it right before I export. That was on the effects. So render in and out. And we'll just wait for it to render. Alright, so after it's done rendering, you see that it's all green. What we're going to do last is going to do File, Export Media. Make sure you always change the name, because if you don't change the name, it's not going to come up as what the original clip that you put in there first. So mine's demonstration video 3. I'm just putting it right to my desktop. Hitting save, making sure that it's going to publish to YouTube through my account. I hit export, and it's going to start encoding then exporting. Alright, that is all for today. Have a great week.